Let's start with congratulations. You had 2 opening nights.
We did.
Tony nominations.
Yeah.
You're kind of getting a quite moment to catch your breath before the actual Tonys. Let's talk about Cabaret, though. I mean, what a show, and not just a show, but what an experience.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It's I'm pleased you found it an experience, because that was one of the things that we dreamt of with this show. It's, you know, Cabaret is so beloved, and by me more than anyone else.
Me too.
And I've seen so many iconic productions and performances of it that we thought, you know, the only reason to do it again is if you could bring something new. One of the ideas we had was, how do you create an evening for people? How do you sort of immerse people in an experiential thing that means that you leave everything, all your memories of the day out on Broadway, on 52nd Street, and get pulled and intoxicated into a different world, really. And so our designer, a wonderful man called Tom Scott, has completely converted the August Wilson. So you enter via a kind of back alley and you get taken into these bars, these sort of clandestine spaces, past musicians and dancers, and hopefully by the time you arrive into the theatre proper that's in the round, you've forgotten about your life, you've left those troubles outside, and you're ready to be drawn into this dark and beautiful world.
Once I was inside the theater, I didn't realize where I was.
Oh, good.
It's transformed so incredibly.
Well, it's meant to sort of discombobulate you, really,
does.
as well. So that one of the things about Cabaret as a piece written by Kandra and Eben Masteroff is it presents as this sort of joyful celebration, and then gradually through these pieces of wonderful music that are so catchy and kind of at moments childlike almost, you don't realize that you're being skewered and that the story is going to quite a dark place.
Right.
And one of the things that we wanted to do, and you know, Tom in his design, there are sort of, if you look around the space, there are eyes everywhere. This idea of sort of being watched and being looked at, and as cast members, we kind of snake in and out of the audience and appear in places,
right,
perhaps your unexpected places. And that idea of the uncanny, like making you feel sort of titillated and seduced, but at the same time discomforted.
Now, when you come up and you have audience surrounding you on all sides, how is that a different type of performance? I don't know what it was like in the West End, but how is that a different performance for you?
Performance-wise, it's joyful. The Emcee is, you know, the other character in the scenes with him is the audience. And so having that intimacy, having the shift in that every night, having different audience members with different attitudes, with different histories, with different clothes. You know, one of the glorious things about this production is people come dressed to the nines.
Yes.
People come in fetish gear, people come in black tie, people come in jeans. You know, it's a wonderful mix, and the color of that and the diversity of that makes my job wonderful, because it shifts every night. The Emcee was not in the book by Christopher Isherwood. He exists, he was a creation of Hal Prince and Joel Grey's, and he exists in abstract terms in some ways. That no one talks about what his character is. He only has these songs. He doesn't interact specifically with other cast members.
Right.
And what I was curious about was this idea of him as the Greek chorus. He starts as the puppet or puppeteer, the marionette artist, and then gradually through the piece becomes the conductor. And so he's, without sounding too pretentious, he's kind of the soul of the deteriorating Berlin. Sure. And as fascism comes in, he's going to be absolutely fine, because he can shapeshift his way, he can move his way out of the situation and appear in different guises, whereas the people in the club, this extraordinary group of individuals, don't have that privilege. It's pretty glorious to play. There's a lot of fun in there.
I can imagine. You have a glorious cast that you're surrounded by. Any particular favorite moments that you have each performance, though I assume depending on the audience,
gosh,
it
there's
changes.
so many. I mean, Gail Rankin for me is just, it's just been working with a volcano of talent. She's so free, and she brings this sort of comedienne-like quality to Sally. There's a moment when Atu's Cliff says, you know, can you just be serious for a minute? And she goes, I doubt it, Cliff. And you sort of believe this person plays through capricious kind of playfulness as a distraction and a tool, and yet when she breaks your heart, it's overwhelming.
nominations. Where were you that
Where
day?
was
What
I?
were you doing?
No, I mean, I'm not a musical theatre person,
Okay.
born and bred. So for me, the technical elements, the physical
Yeah.
elements of this show, doing it 8 times a week, are not something that I can sort of sit in that easily. So my best friend is a foam roller.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
A lot of time randomly foam rolling the insides of my back, because it's often my neck that goes, you know, and it crick a neck. And my first thing in the morning is getting in a very hot shower and doing a load of vocal warm-ups, sirens, lip trills, you know, to see, with slight fear, to see where the voice is at and whether we're going to be okay or not. And so I was in the shower, I got out the shower, and there were some phone calls, and it was wonderful. I was lucky enough, last time I was here, about a decade ago, to go to the Tonys, and there's no evening like it. It's so extraordinary, and I'm so thrilled I get to go.
What made you fall in love with Cabaret? Is this the show you've always wanted? I know I read somewhere that you did this when you were younger, right?
I was, yeah. I fell in love with it when I was a kid, and I think the reason is because it's sort of consummate. It's everything that I aspire to see when I go to the theatre. I find it so entertaining. I find it funny. I find it intoxicating.
Mm-hmm.
I find it makes you think, it interrogates you, it makes you look at yourself. And for me, that's why I go to the theatre. You know, to my 15-year-old self, the idea that I would be getting to do this piece on Broadway is sort of beyond imagination.